There's one thing I've noticed, you guys. You can, you can start working with the human body. You can literally slice yourself open. You will find a vagus nerve, you will find the heart, you will find, all the organs, but you won't find a meridian. You won't find a chakra because they're non-physical. However, there are a few structures in the body that are very physical, that play incredibly expanded roles, that are some of the most major players in relaying and transmitting what I believe to be intuitive information. And one of those, probably maybe the most important thing of the moment, and watch, I'll say this is the most important thing of the moment over and over again, but that's the vagus nerve. And so let's talk about this thing. As the longest and most complex of the 12 primary cranial nerves, the vagus nerve plays a very, very special role in our understanding and interaction with energies of all kinds in the human body. On a basic level, the vagus nerve is responsible for informing the brain of what's going on in the organs. It's like this incredible informational highway. It's like this fiber optic cable you can imagine that's stretching through nearly all of your organs. This thing is involved in everything from, vocal tone to discernment of vocal tone, to the enunciation of our words, to, the eye contact that we make, and the actual mental and emotional discernment of how we gauge other people's emotions. This is such a fascinating structure in the body. What we find is, and you guys have probably heard me say this, in the past, but when they say trust your gut, I believe they're saying trust your vagus nerve, because this is the information pathway from that gut, from those intuitive spots, down away from the brain. That's that information highway. And so the vagus nerve is very much like a bundle of fiber optic cabling that runs through and monitors the tonal integrity of our internal environment. It's an essential part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming our organs after moments of extreme stress or fight or flight, adrenaline response to danger. In cases of unexpressed or built up trauma energy in the body, the vagal tone, and I'll explain what the tone is in a moment, but the vagal tone can become essentially weakened. It can lead to a number of issues, mental, physical, emotional. And so one of the ways that I've learned to understand the vagus nerve is in a number of really strange sort of imaginary ways. One of the ways you could imagine this vagus nerve structure in the body is, number one, a little bit like a bell. Okay, and this bell is going to ring, and at certain times, that bell, or the resonance of the bell, if it were to become cracked or dented or otherwise damaged, will not ring. It won't vibrate. It's unable to reach its true, note, or whatever that tone is that it moves. On another hand, you can think of the vagus nerve a little bit like, kind of like a rubber band, the rubber band that stretches a vast length through your body. And, like rubber bands over time will get worn, they'll get stretched out, they'll no longer have that snap and that movement. There's no longer that passage or the movement of like the vibration along that, that thing. And so you can imagine the vagus nerve a little bit like all of those things. But at this stage, if you're wondering, is there a piece of anatomy in my body that's responsible for a tremendous amount of energetic, emotional, all sorts of information, it is the vagus nerve. And so you guys can look at the chart right there. You can even start running your finger. Those of you guys that are looking, you just kind of find the bottom of your ear, find the back of your jaw, and just kind of start running your finger down the side of your neck. Notice you might even feel on your neck, you might even feel like those little bundles, those little fibers, those tendons, the muscles on the side of your neck. Just kind of keep running your finger along there, and you can even just take your fingers and kind of press them right behind your jaw, right on the side right there. And you're going to be accessing this pressure point on your neck that it's really easy to reach the vagus nerve. And so what we're going to be doing here today in a little bit is we're actually going to do an exercise as a group, and we are going to open our vagus nerve using scalar toning. It's okay if you don't know how to do that. That is totally okay, because we're going to be doing it here as a group here today. I'm going to be opening the vagus nerve for you guys, and we're going to go through a process that's going to help you begin to clear your energy, to create clarity in the body, to really allow that gut instinct and that information to continue to move up and down through the body. And so when that vagus nerve is affected by things like implantation, attachment, other forms of toxic frequency interference. We can experience a number of things, but you know, people get adrenal fatigue, exhaustion, onset of autoimmune systems, or excuse me, symptoms, shutdown of intuitive signals from the solar plexus, the gut and intestinal meridians, involuntary playback of latent traumatic experiences in the body, you know, from the psoas, which we'll be talking about today, the liver, spleen, and kidneys. One interesting thing we have seen is inappropriate or paradoxical emotional reactions. Sometimes you'll see people going into a very hysterical state in which they'll be crying, but they'll be laughing, or they'll be crying or shouting, or having this interesting sort of paradoxical, almost opposite-like emotional reaction. In certain cases, that is actually caused by this extreme kind of frazzled sort of thing that the vagus nerve does when it becomes overloaded by energy. And so it's an incredibly important structure in the body. I'm going to go ahead and check some of your comments here. Some of you guys are very, very aware of this. And so I believe that's, yeah, Mario says, any relation to TMG pain and the vagus? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Also with the triple heater meridian, which we're going to be talking about, we talked a little bit about it last week, but what we're basically referring to, Mario, and those of you guys that are here, is, you know, structures, energetic pressure points, meridian points, relaying information in conjunction with that, the vagus nerve right there. For some people, they'll even get big kind of big cheeks or big jaws. Energy will sort of gather around this area. The face will become very tight. Those can all be related to the vagus nerve. There's a whole bunch of other like cranial nerves as well that I don't know as much about, and you guys can also study that stuff on your own. I've just started kind of, you know, looking into the other nerves because I found this by accident, just in my own kind of process, just in my own learning. And when I began to study that vagus nerve, it literally opened up so much for me. So, and so, yes, we will be talking about J seals. We absolutely will. That's in week 4, but yes, there's absolutely a subject. Excellent, excellent. Thank you for your comments. So what we're going to do, you guys, is a little bit of an exercise. It's a little bit of a meditation. It's kind of a, we're getting our bodies ready to begin to relay and transmit and sort of move energy, because at the end of this course here today, you are going to be clearing your own energy. Today's the first time that we're actually going to begin transmitting this tone through the body. And so in order to send this tone, in order to create the scalar wave frequency, in order to begin to activate and really work with the intuitive frequencies in the body, which the vagus nerve is a major player in. And if you look down here, you notice this thing runs through nearly each and every one of your organs: the heart, the spleen, the kidneys, the small intestine, the large intestine, the liver, the stomach. It makes its way through nearly everything, relaying a tremendous amount of information. And so as we go through this attunement process here today, one of the first places we stop, one of the first, or rather that starting point, is clearing that informational highway. And here's the thing, the vagus nerve is not the only one. There's a number of methods through which intuitive info is, you know, passing through your body. But the vagus nerve is the one thing that we can tend to work with immediately. We can start hacking and sort of, you know, breathing differently and really, really working with this nerve. So I want you guys to get ready, kind of settle in your chairs, you know, kind of make yourself a little comfortable. We're going to do some deep breathing. Tiffany says, I've been all over the place this week. Definitely not alone. That's a very good point, Tiffany. So how would we know, you guys, if, you know, maybe we could, how would we know if we needed a little bit of like a vagus nerve clearing? How would we know, you know, if maybe this area on our body is affected or weighed down or just overloaded? The first thing we look into is our breathing, your respiration. Is it easy for you to breathe? Do you feel tight in your chest? Do you feel tight in your belly? How's your diaphragm? The vagus nerve has a really big impact on how our diaphragm and our breathing expands. And so a lot of us will get stuck in this very shallow, like, breathing pattern, and that will cause the vagus nerve to begin that kind of frazzled thing. People's emotions tend to get tense. We tend to get anxious. We'll kind of encounter difficulty out in the world, and you'll have a hard time bouncing back. Some of us can be, you know, driving on the way to work and we almost get in a wreck and we're like, oh man, it's cool, you know, whatever. And we just roll right through it. Others, we will encounter difficulty or toxicity in the world and we'll immediately feel it like start to weigh us down and we'll become very affected and it'll be hard for us to immediately bounce back. The vagus nerve is that bounce back like mechanism in the body. And so if you're feeling overloaded, if you're having a hard time, you know, with just your energy in general, or you could even say if you're having a hard time hearing your guidance, if you're having a hard time understanding the gut instinct, if you feel there is a cutoff from that gut to the brain axis there, that's also a vagus nerve mechanism. So, you know, there are a number of reasons why we really, really need to generate awareness and begin to work with this nerve in the body. So we're going to do a little bit of exercise. Don't worry, it's not a big deal, you guys. I want you to settle in your chairs. Look at this little chart over here on the right. Look at where that vagus nerve goes down the side of your neck. I'd like you to start breathing deep. Go into that deep belly breathing like there's a balloon or a basketball down there. You're really kind of puffing yourself up. You're acknowledging once again that you're part of a group of people that have gathered from all over the world on this day, in this very moment, to begin to expand and shift our energy, to open up our intuitive abilities and move into the next version of what we created, what we chose to become. And so just tune in as you're breathing. And if you want to, go ahead and take your fingers, guys. Take your fingers. Place them right here on the side of your neck, right underneath your ears. You'll feel kind of where your skull ends. You'll feel the edge of your skull. And you want to go right underneath that, right at that soft spot. And you'll notice you're in the right place because you'll feel your jaw right there as well. You'll notice, okay, there's my jaw. There's the bottom of my skull. Let's go kind of underneath the ears. And you're going to feel around. Some of you guys will feel a heartbeat right away. Some of you guys will feel a vibration. Some people will feel an emotion in the body instantly. Some people will also feel, sometimes our feet will get cold. Sometimes we will get a ringing in the ears. There's a number of signs that will tell us there's energy there or the body's beginning to open up. But just grab your fingers, place them right there on the sides of your neck. And if you'd like to, go ahead and close your eyes. Continue that deep, slow breathing. Understand that as you completely expand and deflate your diaphragm on each breath, you are already beginning the process of opening that vagus nerve, just in that deep breathing alone. And so just like we did last week, I'm going to count from 3 to 1, and we'll take a very deep, deep breath in. We'll hold that breath for just a moment. And then I'll say it and we'll go ahead and exhale as a group. What we're doing is synchronizing our energy, synchronizing our heartbeat, synchronizing our respiration. And then we're going to open that vagus nerve. So just go ahead and settle in. Let your air all the way out. Let it go all the way down. Let's take a deep breath in 3, 2, 1. Hold that breath. Hold your fingers at your neck. And release. Draw that out breath out as long as you can. Make that sound. It's like a snake, like you're breathing out. Let's do one more of those, you guys. I'm going to count from 3 to 1. We're going to take a deep breath in. Go ahead and hold the sides of your neck. We're tapping into that vagus nerve. We're breathing deeply, and then we're going to release and expand the energy all the way down into the gut with one big tone. But first, let's go ahead and take one more deep breath in here. Hold on to that nerve. Understand you're tapping into your energetic and physical circuitry. Acknowledge that you're beginning to hack the human body and work with your energy in a new way. With your fingers plugged in, right there at that vagus nerve. Here we go. Let's take a deep breath in, and 3, 2, 1. Hold it. And release. All the way down. Take that breath all the way down. Very, very good. We're going to do one more of those. For those of you guys that want to join me in this one, it's a little bit different. It's called a Valsalva maneuver. And what we're going to do is very gently pressurize the body. How do we do that? Very, very gently. What we're going to do for this one is when we take our deep breath in as a group, we're going to pinch our nose, deliberately pinching our nose. You don't have to hold your neck for this one. What we're going to do is we're going to pinch our nose, and I would like you to clench that PC muscle right down in there in your groin. Like for the men that are here, that's the one that helps us stop, pee. For women, I think it's the same thing as well. I can't think of the name of the actual muscle, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath in, and we're going to very gently pressurize our body while pinching our nose. And what that does is that causes that vagus nerve to really begin to pump. It's like stretching it out. It's called a Valsalva maneuver. If you guys want to check that out on Google as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to count from 3 to 1. We're going to take a deep breath in and very gently pressurize your body, kind of like you're trying to pop your ears, but you're not. It's a very gentle pressurization. Sometimes people do this very tightly, but we are very gently pressurizing the body in an effort to expand and tonify that vagus nerve. As we do that, we're clenching our bottom, we're clenching that muscle. We'll do it very briefly, and then we let it go very slowly. So here we go. Let everything die down. Let's take a deep breath in together in 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Pinch your nose. Tighten it down below. Hold it. Pressurize very gently. And release. Very gently. Good job, you guys. Some of you guys were pressing a little hard there. It's kind of like a spear or like a balloon that gets tight. That is also one of the more extreme ways through which you can stimulate that vagus nerve. Today, we're really tapping into it. And so that is one way that you can do that. What we're going to do is we're going to do one more deep breath in as a group. And as we exhale, we're creating the tone. We're beginning to open up and vibrate the body. You can choose to join me in the actual note. You can allow your body to vibrate. Some of you guys will be humming. Some of you guys will create a very strange sound. Your throat might crackle. You might feel this strange vibration. You might get heat in your body. You might feel an emotion. What we just did in the last few moments was we just stretched out and expanded an area of our body. Now we're going to vibrate and tonify and to strengthen that nerve. Okay, you guys? This is a very new process for a lot of you guys. Kate says, I feel some slight sensation in the vagus nerve when I did that on the right side. That is a very, very good sign. We just don't want to press. You don't want to press too hard when like if you really want to open that up, just don't over pressurize the body. For some people that can, create issues with the ear. But what we're going to do is just kind of settle in. Those of you guys that are with us, go ahead if you want to plug into that vagus nerve. And here's the thing. You don't have to physically palpate any area of your body to send or receive this energy. I like to, if we're in the physical realm, because it gives us an additional layer of that, like connection. So go ahead and plug into that vagus nerve right there, behind the jaw, at the back, right underneath your ears, that soft spot. Let everything settle down. You can join me in this tone or you can just listen, but allow your body to create a vibration. Let everything out. For those of you assisting the members of this multidimensional soul group here today, we honor you and thank you for gathering together, allowing us, assisting us with the expansion and generating awareness of this structure in the body. Let all that wind out. Here we go. Take a deep breath in 3, 2, 1. Take a deep, slow breath in. Notice the vibration you felt in the fingers. Notice the vibration you felt on the sides of your neck and your throat and in your body. Some of you guys felt it all the way down in your groin, all the way down in the bottom or in your belly. We're going to do one more. That was really good, you guys. We're tapping into that vagus nerve. Acknowledge on this next tone that you are among a group of multi-dimensional explorers moving into new stages of awareness in your body. And today you're tapping into the vagus nerve. You're absolutely capable of doing it. Let that breath go all the way out. You're holding your fingers on the sides of your neck. If you choose to do it, let that wind go all the way down. Here we go. One more big one. Take a deep breath in, and 3, 2, 1. Nice slow breath in. One of the things I like to do when we disconnect from that area is we just sever the energy. We pop it, however you want to do it. I feel that symbolic gestures when it comes to disconnecting or passing or moving energy, whether we're doing it with ourselves or another, those are very, very helpful. I felt actually an incredible shift in my own chest when we did that. So thank you guys for going through that process with me.